I'd like to welcome Wardha Shabbir to this conversation between Wardha and I. Wardha is somebody who I have had a long association with. Welcome, Wardha. Um, I'm not going to run this profile of yours and introduce you because I know that everyone knows who you are because you have been working so diligently since the time you graduated from NCA in 2016 with an honors and a distinction and all of that, which of course we all know because you are an ACE student, you have been an ACE student, which has translated into your practice in the last 15 years since you've been a practicing artist. So this conversation is about you being chosen to represent not Pakistan, but as one of the 111 artists at the Venice Biennale main pavilion by the curator. And you are the only Pakistani artist of those 111 artists. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'd like to take this conversation forward from there, what it means to be part of that, and then we will continue. So, congratulations for this most incredible feat, Vardha. This is really, I mean, for people who don't know, the Venice Biennale has the curated spaces, which are the Arsenale and the Giardini, and then they have the country pavilions. And you are in the main space, in the curated space, with 111 international artists. So tell me, how did this come about?
Thank you so much, Sameera, and hello to all the audience that will be joining or viewing this. Thank you so much for my very brief introduction and giving the whole background. And about Venice Biennale, at first I couldn't actually believe it. It was something which really came as a surprise. But when I started to know about Koyo and know about her curatorial team, and then I read everything about how they selected artists and what was their process, then it's like a miracle that they came to me, and I feel very, very lucky to be part of this. I feel very honored to be here. But one thing that I must accept, and I must say that I'm very proud of, is that I'm living in Pakistan and I'm representing Pakistan in a way. That is something that I think which has a very, very strong ground. And it actually changes the narrative of how I will bring back the experience over here as well. So I'm not just excited to be part of the Venice Biennale, but I'm also looking forward to what I'm going to bring back over or from there.
So, Vardha, to just go forward, what is the curatorial theme of this year's Venice Biennale?
So the curatorial note is actually around minor keys. It's actually called Minor Keys, curated by Koyo, and now her team is looking after the whole thing. Sadly, Koyo passed away just 1 year ago, but it was very, very. Her team was very good for giving this as a tribute to Koyo and taking this forward. Minor Keys is about the things that we see every day, but we tend to ignore. The minor keys are always there in the piano, but we always talk about the main tunes and the significance of the things that are very central composed, but we don't talk about the minor keys. But it's the minor keys. If you take them out, your composition is incomplete. Your composition cannot be the same. So that's why it's titled like Minor Keys, and also the artworks which are very sensitive, which play a very vital role in composing the world around them, which actually make you stop, ponder deeper, realize that time is important. You should actually look and observe and absorb and artwork in that relationship. In that also, that aspect is the main factor of the curatorial note. And also, I wouldn't say that it's about the dilemma, it's about beauty, but it's definitely about the dilemma that surrounds beauty in that way, and the narratives and the conversation that comes out from it. But it's not just paintings who are there are sculptures, there are videos, there are various sort of artwork which is there. And my work is not in the Arsenale. I have a body of work which will be present in the Arsenale, but I'm again very lucky to be part of the Giardini as well, and my sculpture work will be there.
So you're saying that your paintings will be in the Arsenale while your sculptural work will be in the Giardini.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like a double whammy, right? That's fantastic. And that
Yeah.
sculpture that you are going to be showcasing has it been produced in Pakistan? How has it gone to Venice? What is the thought process behind it, and how were the logistics?
It was obviously idealized in Pakistan because I am in Pakistan and in Lahore. It was the thought process over here. The key models were made over here. The research was made over there, but it is made with the help of a foundry who is located in Spain. And it was produced in Europe, so it was very easy to ship in Europe as well. So that's why we selected that.
That's also because you're very fortunate to have a representation by a gallery based in Spain called the Sabrina Amrani Gallery. So congratulations on that also, because that's not something that everybody gets representation by a very fine gallery internationally. So congratulations, and I know that they have been a very strong part of this, and they have presented the best face forward for you. So how do you feel about that relationship with Sabrina Amrani?
I think it's not been very long since I have been working with my gallery, but I think without their support, my mad ideas were just not possible. The great thing about it is that they always encourage artists to think out of the box, and they never say no to an idea. They always look for how we can manage this, how we can produce this. So I even tried making sculptures over here, but it was not possible. So it was the whole team working in Spain. And it's I would actually say that it's a collaboration between the gallery and the artist for the sculptures.
So your sculpture, what material is it made of?
First we started making these sculptures in fiberglass, but now it's in bronze.
Okay, so it was casted bronze in a foundry in Spain and has been transported from Spain to to Venice, to Italy. Okay, and so tell me about your journey, Vardha, from the time you graduated till now. How has your journey been? And also, how much do you think has to do with being from NCA and being part of the miniature movement, which is something that has been a stepping stone for many artists? So, how would you relate to that, to where you are today?
It's a very, very significant and good question, I must say, Sameera. And I would like to tell you about a little bit of history. Is that when I actually got admission in NCA and even in the fine arts department, I was given the choice whether I want to go into design or in the fine arts department, right there during my interview. And I said that I wanted to be in design. But the jury actually advised me that why don't you opt for fine arts just for 1 year, and then if you decide, then you can switch your department. So I was a little reluctant, but they were really adamant that you should really go for it. And then they gave me admission in fine arts department. Another element of surprise came when I didn't even know that what miniature painting is. I had no clue about it. I only know about painting and sculpture before coming to NCA. Even when I did my foundation year, I didn't know much about miniature. I came across the theory and method of miniature painting when I did experience it in my block. And that's when the world opened up for me. I never actually went into this department because of the glory of it. I went into this department because it was very easy for me. It was very easy for me to travel on the buses with the small miniature painting. It was very easy for me to hide what I'm doing from the world in one way or the other, because I mostly traveled local, and I had to be careful, taking. So it came as a very convenient art for me. But as you also said that I was a star student, and I was really precise about the things that I do. I started working hard in it as well, habitually, and the world just opened up. The world of a dot opened up, and I must say that your teachers play a big role. My teachers were Ehsan Jamal, Hasnat Mahmood, Imran Qureshi. They really inspired me in their own ways. How they should as a student, and the conceptual grip of my art came from Mariam Hussain. She has played a very big role. Anwar Saeed, Ashfaq Shah, Malik, Laila Rahman, Qudus Mirza, a lot. So I was a product of the both realms, I must say. I always used to torture my teachers about asking question about subjectivity of why we're doing copy works and why should I do copy works, and I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. I don't even want to sit in miniature department. And they dealt with my chaos, and they handled me in such a good way that I'm their product. So I really give the crown to NCA. Without NCA, I don't think I would have been here where I am right now.
So thank you for that, and thank you for giving credit where it's due, because a lot of people, as you well know, forget about the journey. Though I personally feel that it's a journey that is the most important, not where you reach. So one thing, before you came to NCA, you were also at the Fashion Institute for a few months, correct? And
Yeah.
so why the transition from there to NCA? Number one. Number two, who was the jury who possibly saw the potential in you and kind of guided you, maybe not very subtly, but guided you into the fine art department? I'd like to know both of those answers, please.
The first answer is that because I was the first artist in my family to go to NC, and when I was my younger self, when people used to ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up, I always used to answer, I want to go in NCA. I was in grade 6 when I wanted to go to NCA, and I started preparing myself for that. I was never allowed to go to NCA, but because of my enthusiasm, my father said that, okay, Wardha, you're just going to get one chance in your life. If you get into NCA, I'll not say anything, but if you're not getting into NCA, then you have to look for another option. So the other fashion institute was my life board, that what if I don't get into NCA? But the day the list got up on the board, I was all NCA. And the second question, I think it was a deep conversation between, I don't have the whole memory of all the 7 or 6 people who were standing, but the faces that I remember who were having this conversation, whispering one to each other, was Najji, Ma'am Nazir Shataullah, Ustad Bashir Ahmed, and Sir Aram Naim.
So this was pretty much the jury which somehow managed to convince you that you would do better in fine art as opposed to design. And interestingly, all 3 of them are part of the fine art department, with Bashir Saab being the head of the miniature department at that time, and Najib being in printmaking, and Naeem being in painting. So that's really interesting. They must have seen something, and that's exactly what I wanted to bring to the fore, how when you are not threatened is when you can see potential in somebody and then take it forward. So that is a very interesting thing that has happened. So now your time at NCA was very good. I know that you were chosen for a certain period to go to France and learn over there also. And of course, what you learned somewhere else when you moved away from your comfort zone into a new environment is something that benefits you and the people around you also. So that is very interesting. I also see a bit of your mother's love for landscape and plants in your work, or am I mistaken in that?
I would answer your first thing first, that I was the first ever female from miniature department. In fact, the first student to go on an exchange program to Paris. And after that, on I guess the last up till date from the bachelor's program. After that, this program shifted to master's program. So I'm very privileged and honored that my teacher selected me for that as well. About your second thing is it's a completely different realm. My mother has been a big influence in the study of botany that I do. I recently said that in an interview or in a talk somewhere that the punishment that my mother used to give us when I was a child, when I used to do something, was that go and clean the leaves of this plant, because she loved plants so much. And she used to take care of them. When I used to ask her, Amma, am I your kid or these plants are your kids? And I mean, imagine the punishment of a mother giving them, pipe the leaves of the plants and make them shiny.
Quite an interesting punishment, I must say. Better than standing in a corner with finger on your lips, right? Yeah. So that I think,
yeah. So
I think your mother has played an instrumental part in your life. The way you have painted, the kind of colors that you work with, is like a private garden. What you've taken it forward. Of course, I have seen how you have done 3D works earlier at, say, the Venice Biennale, and how your love for gardens has come through even in the work that is behind you. So tell me, after all of this, the fact that you are representing Pakistan, how does it make you feel, other than of course, the disbelief? I know that there must have been immense disbelief at the time, but after that, how have you managed to do the work? Because there must be a lot of stress involved with it, having 2 young kids, having to manage, because we forget when we are speaking to an artist, we forget that the artist is also a human being. And in the case of a woman, she also has to be a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, and run the house. So how have you managed all of that?
I would just like to go back to the first part where you started from. And I would say that I have been extremely lucky to find women who supported me, and Pakistani women who supported me, who supported my ideology. And because of my stepping stones, I would have not been here. I was very lucky to come across my first gallery, which was Rotas and Salima Hashmi. My second gallery, which is I also call my home, which is Canvas Gallery, and of course you, Sameera Raja, who actually showed me the glimpse of the world. And I both say that these are not. I've been very lucky that there's not my galleries, they're actually my families who have actually supported me. And you and Canvas have helped me encounter the international world, how the world actually came to know about my practice, Grosvenor, Canvas. They really helped me in my acquiring an international stage. The second bit, I actually don't know how I did that all. I still, when I look back at my practice and how I've become a first-time mother, and then I did Art Dubai, and then I became a second-time mother, and just within 1 year, I'm doing Venice Biennale. I think I have a supporting spouse as well, who actually encourages me to work, and my mother really helps with. She looks after my kids when I'm all doing my ventures. But it's also about my discipline. of what has actually really kept me steady. And I think it's very, very important. I have a very strict routine. I go by my routine. I do everything. I'm looking after the house. I'm looking at the kitchen. My dining table is my studio table sometimes, because I'm looking after the kids, feeding them, and doing drawings at the same time with a whole spread of sheets. So it's like a collaboration. I never get heartless about the restrictions that I have, but I started looking at these restrictions as something how I can overcome them and they're not boundaries. Is you just have to change your perspective. Like, my studio has a very, very small window, and I look outside of it every day. And when you're an artist, you have to come up, and there's a blockage, and you have to come up with composition, and you just look out this window every day when you're thinking something. Every time I look out this window, I manage to take a composition. Sometimes I get inspired by a female who is washing clothes in the balcony. Sometimes I'm inspired by somebody has washed a blanket and it's hanging in their balcony. Sometimes I get inspired by the light which is outside the balcony. Sometimes the foliage. So there's so many ways of looking at a thing, and just stop revolving around restriction or negativity, and then you will find a way, always.
So your home, which I've had the pleasure of visiting, and also the way you lay the table and all the food and the drink and everything, it's all a work of art. Even your tea and the way you present the tea is a work of art. So the clothes you wear, the jewelry, I remember at Art Dubai when we were showing you so many years back, I think along with your art, you were the artwork also. And how many people wanted to be photographed with Wardha Shabbir, the most beautiful young artist who had dressed so well. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was that element also. And the fact that what I remember again is that you were showcasing Pakistani artisans, the jewelry you wore, the clothes you were wearing. A lot of it was about young emerging designers also, which you had found and which were not known, but you were bringing them along with you to the limelight. Is that a deliberate thing?
I must say that you're very kind and generous, and you have a very good memory that you remember all those tiny details. Wow, amazing. But yes, this is something very deliberately that I do, because I'm a very proud Pakistani in that way. I've always chosen to live over here despite all the economic, social, environmental crisis, because I think these are my roots, and I have a duty towards my country, and I want to take this forward, and I want to tell people about Pakistan as you always do. I've never seen you wearing westernized clothes when you were, in your exhibitions or doing art fairs. You're always, wearing a very good shalwar kameez, which is actually a representation of Pakistan. We are pure Pakistani and proud of it, and that's what you want to show.
That's very true. Both of us are really proud Pakistanis, and every time we go, we actually make a conscious effort to represent Pakistan, the good side of Pakistan, because there's enough negative side being portrayed everywhere. So, Wardha, when are you leaving for Venice for the Biennale?
I'm leaving in quite some few days, in the early next week, first week of May.
You'll be there for how long?
I'll be there for the preview days till the 9th of May.
So you're there from the 3rd onwards?
I'm leaving on the 3rd night, and I will reach there on the 4th, and I will be there somewhere around 8 and reach here on the 9th.
So do you have any idea of how many visitors you're expecting for this Biennale?
Well, I have been told to get ready, because it's going to be a lot of chaos. Yes. In a way. Yes. There's going to be a lot of footfall, and I really hope so that it's that way, because Minor Keys is about, in this chaotic world, we are, we engage with things that are important, and which engage with things that are hopeful. So I think that, this would be a window to the soul for many people.
So I want to go back to the time you were saying when, as a student, you could hide your art because you were traveling by public transport. Why did you feel the need to hide?
It has a lot of personal thing as well, that when you're actually when you're a girl, when you're a very young girl and you're using public transport, so you don't want to engage with a lot of people. You want to mind your own business and reach home safely, because back in those days there were a lot of suicide bombing happening on Mall Road and a lot of there. So it was a time of political unrest. So we were really thinking of, how to mind my own business in that way. And there was a lot of chaos around the city because of the shooting of Venice Biennale as well. So it was that time that I just wanted to mind myself, and I wanted to be the artwork in my bag. But at the same time, I was also having an inner fight, and also a fight with my family, that I have to prove myself that I'm not doing anything wrong or against Islam if I'm making portraits, or if I'm learning figurative art in that way. Because in the first 2 early years, second year and third year, you're mostly making figuration out of the copy paintings that you do. So it was politically and for my safety, and also the family dilemma that I was dealing with at that time.
So, in a way, you were wanting to be invisible so that you could make your work visible. Would that be a correct way?
Very.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
And so now, where does your family stand with who Wardha Shabbir is today, as opposed to the young girl who had to fight to find that place for herself at NCA?
And after that, many years as well, which actually went into that fight. Yeah. But I think I have won that war now. My parents are very, very proud of me in that way. And they're very supportive. In fact, the whole family is very supportive of my arts. And I think that I have opened doors for the next generation into this field. I feel very lucky in that way.
Also, I do want to say that I've had the pleasure of working with you for a long time, and I've seen how you have embraced what you were saying about restrictions. You've never thought of them as restrictions. So even when you were expecting, I think we were showing you in London at Grosvenor Gallery at that time, in which you came fully pregnant, totally there. Was that the time, or was that another time? I can't remember, but I remember you embracing your pregnancy. I remember you doing everything, giving classes to some students in England while you were pregnant. Was that the time, or was that in Dubai? I can't remember correctly, but I do remember that you didn't make any fuss about being pregnant, or about having swollen feet, or about not being able to sit on the floor and conduct those classes. So those are the things that I think need to be talked about, because you can make complaints, or you can put these things, these restrictions are a lot of times self-imposed. But it's how you look at the world and how you look at the opportunities that come your way that transform the world around you. And I just want to put it on record, because I've seen that journey, and I'm very proud of you for doing that.
The first time that I think I got to know about my pregnancy, I traveled in first 3 months, and I did the whole wall drawing of the Jameel Art Prize exhibition at the Biennale. That was my first time, and I did that all, and all the nausea and vomiting outside, in the washroom and all that. I did that. Then I was actually full term pregnant when I did a solo at Canvas Gallery in Karachi. And then post-pregnancy, after just giving birth to my son, I did a show at Grosvenor, which was my first solo with them.
Right. Okay. And while we're talking about all of this, I think we need to remind you of, or the audience at large, how you were one of the shortlisted artists for the Jameel Prize. Again, that was 2018, and you got to show your work at the V&A for 6 months. Just after, I think you didn't know at the time that you were showing, you had a show at Canvas, and then you got shortlisted for the Jameel Prize, which is a huge achievement, by the way, because those are, I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds of applicants, and then 6 to 8 artists from around the world get shortlisted, and their work is shown at the V&A for 6 months, correct?
Followed by at the Jameel Art Center in Dubai as well.
Correct. And then you did something at the Jameel Art Center also. I think you conducted some classes or something like that for some time. I remember there was that, and there was the MISC Foundation also. So you have given back to not just the patrons of art, but also the other generation, the younger generation, because you also used to teach at NCA.
I did not give the workshop at the Jameel Art Center in Dubai, but actually at MISC Institute.
Okay.
But yes, you're very, very right that I have been conducting these workshops and opening the world of the method of miniature painting, or the method of this art to other people who actually don't know.
Just to surmise, what would you? I know you fought many battles to be here, many battles. Which we forget. We only see people when they've achieved something. We forget the journey that has led to it. So kudos to you for that journey. And oh, by the way, that yellow painting is the Jameel. That was the one that was shortlisted for the Jameel Prize, right? And it was shown at the V&A. What is the message you would like to give to other aspiring young female artists?
There will always be times when you think that it's not working out. There will always be times when you think that all hope is gone. But I always say that, how my mother once opened up to me, that, after the darkest hour, the first ray of sunlight comes. So I would always tell my young girls, who also work with me in my studio as well, that keep on going. And don't wait that you're gonna have a big class in a day's time, or after just few months of practice you're gonna boom into a big artist. I would say don't even think about it. Just think about what your role is. Maybe your role is not to become a very big artist. Maybe your role is just to explore in one way or the other. You just have to embrace what is coming to you, because your journey is meant for you. Your journey is not to walk on somebody else's footprint. I believe in this.
I totally agree with you on this, because a lot of people say to me, so who's the next Rashid Rana? Or who's the next Salman Toor? Or who's the next Wardha Shabbir? Or Adila Suleiman? Or Hamra Abbas? Or Waqas Khan. That's always the way people think. And I say, they are them. You will be you. So everybody's life's journey is different. So don't say who's the next one. We don't know. But whoever it is, good luck to them. And really, Wardha, having known you for so long, having seen how you are as an artist, as a person, as somebody who's supremely committed to everything that you do and everything that you stand by, I am so very, very proud that you will be part of the main show at the Venice Biennale. And for people, because I know that Venice is not a place that most people go to see art, because unfortunately we live in a world where art is not as important as a lot of other things. I hope that people from Pakistan actually go to Venice from May 4th onwards till the 22nd of November, which is the span that the Venice Biennale is on for. I understand that it is not possible for people to go at peak time during the summer when everything is crazy expensive. But if you could go September, October, November, go and see the show, go and see the Biennale, go and understand how the world operates in art. Also, I do want to let people know that biennales are not commercial, they are not fairs. They are appointed, the artists are chosen because of their work, and the work is then showcased. It is not for sale, there is no commercial aspect to it. It is a place you go to appreciate art and to satiate your senses. So that would be something I would really want people to go and see and appreciate you, because we are very lucky in this iteration. We have you, Wardha Shabbir, in the main Venice Biennale, which is a curated section, and we have a Pakistan pavilion of Faiza Bhatt. So we are really very, very lucky this time to have 2 stars on board. And thank you so much, Wardha. Thank you for being who you are. And from all of us at Canvas and the larger art audience in Pakistan and overseas, and from the galleries that have nurtured you, Rohtas, Canvas, Grosvenor, and now Sabrina Amrani, I think we're all very, very proud of you and wish you the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Canvas Gallery, for always being the beam of light in my life and artist practice.